Hello, welcome to Toffee TV Everton podcast. Cam is back for the Ned Cam podcast edition. It's going to be a bit of a therapy session, to be honest. The season's over, probably the worst season for a while. Just before we start, breaking news to us. Ben Godfrey has been included in the 33-man provisional squad for the Euro 2021. Thoughts? Think he deserves it?
Yeah, 100%. He's been immense this season, hasn't he? And hopefully he's part of the full squad that goes, because it's nothing less than what Ben deserves. He come in the summer, and I don't think any of us really had any real expectation. I remember sitting there when we signed him, thinking he's probably going to be one for the future. He mightn't play an awful lot this season, and little did we know he's come in, and he's been absolutely phenomenal, hasn't he? From playing at left back when we needed him to, centre back, right back. And more often than not, he's putting in 8, 9 out of 10 performances. He's had the odd couple of games here and there where he struggled, but you expect that for a 22-year-old. But his physicality, his strength, his pace, his passion, his mentality, everything is absolutely spot on. And Ben Godfrey is the mould of player that Everton should be looking at buying again in the summer. In fact, we should be looking at buying 2, 3, 4 more of Ben Godfrey. And yeah, he absolutely deserves it. He deserves it as much, if not more, than anybody else. So, made up for him.
He's a perfect player for me. He's got the athleticism, got the physique, got the pace, and most importantly for me, he's got a bit of hunger in him.
Yeah.
Prepared to fight with his own teammates, fight for his own teammates. He's a little battler, and I think his attitude is spot on. And I think I just hope he doesn't get injured if he does go. But I just pray for him. But I am happy for him. But I suppose he's the perfect player for Gareth as well, if he wants to play that back three. Especially if he wants Trent in there playing wing back. Godfrey right centre back with his recovery pace and how good he is at. He's a brilliant centre back. I think he can be a main man in a back three. Yeah, he can play that Kyle Walker role that we saw in the 2018 World Cup.
Absolutely. Well, that's the hope, isn't it? The hope is that he's not just in there because Gareth Southgate's named 33 players, which is I think practically every England player that plays in the Premier League. So I hope he's not just being put in there for the sake of we'll throw him in to give him a little bit of a confidence boost, but then he'll be taken out, because he should be in that England squad for the Euros. It's not just the case of he's in there because they had a space for him. He's in there because he's had a fantastic season and he's got something to offer that England team. I'm not a massive international football fan, but I'm made up for Ben himself, as I'm made up for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Jordan Pickford, who've also been included. And we know Dom and Jordan will definitely be going to the Euros, and I hope it's the same for Ben, because like you said, he's got a role, he's got a place in that squad, he's got a place in that team. And if you're an opposition fan and you're genuinely looking at it thinking, why is Ben Godfrey in there, then you don't watch football. It's as simple as that. You don't understand football, because he's been one of the best centre-halves in the country this season, and especially for Everton, he's saved us on a number of occasions, hasn't he, with his versatility.
Do you think Michael Keane will be gutted he got left out?
I don't think probably, yeah, because he wasn't very happy when he got left out of the last.
Do you think he really deserved to be in it though?
I don't think the problem is with Michael Keane is I think last week summed up Michael Keane perfectly.
Yeah.
On Thursday he was absolutely phenomenal, and he put in one of the best defensive performances he's put in all season, and 3 days later against Manchester City he was everywhere. And I get it's Manchester City and they're the best team in the world, etc., but just the simple things like running into 5 men in the middle of the park and giving the ball away, and them countering and scoring, or allowing a 5'4" Sergio Aguero to score an header when you're
that goes back to what I said last week. The most thickest team.
Well, that's
the decision making shocking, and
that's
then
it.
A week later you're trying to take on the whole midfield of a Manchester City team who's possibly the best midfield in the Premier League.
Well, that's why he's not in the squad. And look, yes, he probably will be disappointed. And I think Michael Keane's biggest issue is his consistency, and the fact that he's a confidence player. 1 week you can get an unbelievable Michael Keane, and the next week you can get a liability. And you can't really, especially if you're wanting to go and win a tournament, you can't really be reliant on players like that. You need players that you know what you're going to get, game in, game out. And that's what Gareth Southgate would have wanted. And let's be honest, as Evertonians, who's had a better season, Michael Keane or Ben Godfrey? It's Ben Godfrey, so he should be in there over him. Don't get me wrong, there's some other players and centre-backs that Gareth Southgate has included and seems to really like, which I think Michael Keane probably would have something to say about, but they certainly don't play for Everton. So, yeah, look, he probably is disappointed, as I'm sure he should be, but again, it should be motivation for him to do better.
We talk about England the whole podcast.
I don't even like England, but it's so much better than talking about Everton.
Nor do I, but it's just another... Same as last season, I suppose. We ended the season in typical Everton fashion. It just felt like after the West Brom game at the Hawthorns, it was
nailed on.
It was impossible to finish outside of Europe and to finish 10th. I suppose because it's the last game of the season, it could have gone either way with the results. If we got a 1, we could have finished. Actually, I don't think we could have finished 7th because Tottenham won.
Yeah,
so we could have finished at least it came down to the last day where it could have gone if other fixtures went our way, and ours.
Then we didn't have to play Man City.
Yeah, exactly. Then it could have been. Well, imagine you say that we could have played Sheffield United. It wouldn't have been much better.
Well, I said before the game I was more confident playing City away than anybody at home, and then
exactly.
It was a testimonial, wasn't
heart crushing. But it's like we came to went all the way to the last game of the season, and it could have gone. We finished 7th, or we finished 10th, and we just finished 10th because of our own doing. Turning up and putting that display on against City was just beyond pathetic, really. Absolute zero fight. It was like we'd turn up for a testimonial.
It was. That's all it was.
It's like, your last Premier League game, is it Aguero?
That's all it was.
Go ahead. It's just, we know we've been bad. I know we lost 4 away games, but we've won 6 at home. So imagine a team finishing 7th and getting to Europe with 6 home wins. And we know we've been poor, and we know we've been inconsistent and good at times. And we know it's been a really up and down season, but it still hasn't sunk in that we finished. I know it doesn't matter where we finished up because we didn't get Europe anyway, but it still hasn't sunk in that we finished 10th.
Yeah,
because it's like we've been up in top 4 and top 6 or top 7. It was made up for us to finish in the top 6 or 7, and we've just lost so many. I don't want to say bottled it because it's not like we got ourselves into a perfect position. We just kept losing all our own games the games that you'd expect us to win, and I suppose it's typical Everton to let us down, I suppose. But
yeah, we didn't bottle it because we didn't have the backbone, the spine, the ability probably to get into that position to bottle it. We were never there comfortably, and we went, okay, we're 6 points ahead of I don't know, West Ham in 7th, or Arsenal in 7th or something. So with 4 games to go, we were never in that position because every time we had the chance to get to that position, you could say we bottled it, but we didn't. We fell to bits. We completely fell to pieces. And no, I was disgraced, mate. It was an awful, embarrassing performance. And there was a stat floating about on Sunday afternoon after the game. It was that before, and I don't know if this is factually correct, but I'm assuming it is. Before Sunday, Everton hadn't dropped lower than 9th in the Premier League table, and we finished 10th. So for the entire for the first 37 games of the season, for the entire season from September to the start, or August, whenever it was, to Sunday, we hadn't dropped lower than 9th position in the table, and yet the last game of the season, when the final whistle's blown, we finished 10th. If that's not Everton, then I don't know what is. But no, you're right, it was shocking, mate. It was a testimonial game. There's a reason why Sergio Aguero said to Pep Guardiola, I don't want to start this game, and that's because he knew that even coming on with 10 minutes to go, he was going to score at least 2 and get man of the match, which is exactly what he did. I've got no issue with losing to Manchester City. They're an incredible footballing team. The goals that they scored, the first one, we couldn't get anywhere near any of them, and De Bruyne just slots it comfortably. The second one is a Michael Keane header, but the counter-attack's so good. There's no embarrassment by losing to that Manchester City team, who, let's be honest with ourselves, are the best team in the world and are probably going to go and stample Chelsea on Saturday. It's the way in which we lost. It's the fact that we didn't bother to turn up and show any fight, show any passion. It was like we've turned up and gone, oh yeah, we'll be part of, you're having a party today, are you? Is Aguero's last game, you're lifting the title, we'll turn up, we'll be involved in it. I said it on Twitter after the game, mate. It was like when people turn up at kids' parties dressed as princesses and Marvel characters and that. That's what we were. We were just the entertainment. We were just the punch bag. We were the dartboard. We were there to get laughed at while everybody else has a wonderful time. And we could have spoiled that party on Sunday. We could have turned up, battled with them, fought with them, got physical with them. And if we didn't win, we could have at least made them think, do you know what? That was a tough game ahead of what's a big game at the weekend. I said this the other day. Imagine you go in, first 5 minutes, you put a couple of tough challenges in on Kevin De Bruyne. He gets up and he's thinking, I've got the biggest game of my career on Saturday. I don't want to really risk this for a game against Everton. That means absolutely nothing to any of us other than those Everton players. And I get that you could say, well, to tackle players, you've got to get near them, Cam. But we never even looked like we were interested in doing. Defensively, we were abysmal. The midfield was shocking. The forward line, again, they didn't get much, but they weren't very good either. Godfrey Sigurdsson, I think, completely bottled it under pressure with the penalty. I think we've seen two sides of Everton this week. I think we saw a side of Everton against Wolves on Thursday, which was a team that reacted positively to a crowd, and a side of Everton on Sunday, which was a team that reacted negatively to a crowd. We completely and utterly shat ourselves. And people say, Man City, you haven't got no fans, this, that and the other. We absolutely crapped ourselves when we turned up at the Etihad because of the crowd, because of the situation, the fact they were lifting the trophy. We couldn't deal with it. We couldn't cope with it. And like I said, it was utterly embarrassing. You wouldn't have thought that team had anything to play for, and now we're sitting here in a season in which we've got 59 points, which is, I think, our highest points total since the season we finished 7th under Ronald Koeman. Only second highest since Roberto Martinez, or I think it's the second highest since Roberto Martinez's season, where he finished 5th. We've beaten Liverpool at Anfield, Tottenham away, Arsenal away. We've had an amazing away record. And we've still managed to finish 10th and below Leeds, who I don't think have had that great of a season, below Arsenal, who their fans are calling for their manager's head. We've finished below them. It's just, and I know you might say you can't take really the league table into that much consideration because we were, 2 points away from 6th.
Well, but we're the highest point scoring 10th place team
ever. Exactly.
So
and it'll only be Everton.
Record-breaking mediocrity.
Yeah.
For you.
But no, we didn't help ourselves. We really didn't. Again, I'm not. We could have been sitting here today saying we lost that game against City, but at least we showed a bit of fight. At least we made it tough for them. At least they're going into Saturday's Champions League thinking, do you know what, we could have done without that game against Everton. And yet we might have still finished 10th, but we can say we've gone out. We've had a difficult game and we've gone out with a big effort, and other results have gone against us. But we didn't. We were laughed at for the entire game. Don't know if anybody listened on Sky Sports, but Gary Neville and Martin Tyler practically laughed at us for 90 minutes. That's all he did. They just laughed at us. Oh, look at Everton always. Tyler was screaming Aguero every time he touched the ball. I mean, what's that about? Aguero, like I said, 5'7" or whatever he is, 5'8", scoring headers above 6'3" Michael Keane, 6'2" Ben Godfrey. You know, we love Ben Godfrey and we've just praised him, but he had a poor game the other day. It was everything that embodies the weak defeatist mentality that is this football club at the moment that needs to be getting rid of as soon as possible, and anybody with that mentality needs to leave and walk out the door today, because that isn't acceptable. There's no big issue losing to that Manchester City team, but the way in which we lost was disgraceful, mate.
Well, I would have much preferred a loss to Man City like the one in the Cup. You know, we stuck to our tactics. You know, basically we were in control of the game for 80 minutes, and then world class took over and managed to get City the win. But then on Sunday it was just a shambles. When you're a goal down and it's a must-win game, when your centre backs trying to take on the whole team, why?
Because they like I said it last week. I think when we done the podcast last week. There's no leaders in this team. We can try and kid ourselves all along and say, oh, we've got Seamus Coleman, we've got Alan, we've got there's not one leader. And I know Seamus didn't play the other day, but there's not one leader at this football club. Nobody picks players up and goes, come on lads, we've gone 1-0 down in the opening. We said it the Sheffield United game. Sheffield United scored 7 minutes in, and we all knew that was it. We weren't getting back into that game. We weren't winning it. We weren't getting a point out of it. because that's the mentality of that football club. There's not one player who picks picks players up and goes, okay, we're 1-0 down against the best team in the country, but come on, it was a silly goal to concede. We've gifted them too much space. Get into them now. Go again. Work hard. Look at the game against City at Goodison. Like you said, we went 1-0 down in that game. We got back into it. It went to 1-1. We battled. We worked. We fought with them for 80 minutes. Why couldn't we have done it again on Sunday? Why couldn't that have been the same? Why couldn't we have battled with them again on Sunday? I get that they're much better than us, but it was sort of almost like it was an expected result, and it was an expected performance, and it was an expected scoreline. How is that expected for Everton Football Club? If you expect that, if you're a player and you have gone into that changing room before the game and gone, we're going to get trampled here, so if it goes to 4-0 at half time, expect it. Just go. I'm not bothered. Just leave, because you're absolutely ruining the club. It's a nonsense. But again, like I said, it was a testimonial game that we turned up at to get laughed at. And, the players clearly were thinking, doesn't matter, because tomorrow I'll be, on my private jet somewhere else. James had the idea before everybody else. I mean, fair play, I've supported Everton for 22 years. If you'd have told me on Saturday afternoon that we were going to get sampled 5-0, I'd have been on the same plane as James. I don't blame him. So, yeah, again... There's been positives. There's been positives this season, and there's definitely work to, there's definitely places to work on. But overall, it's a disappointment, isn't it?
Well, you mentioned there's been positives, and I think there has been positive tick out the season. Obviously, you mentioned the good away record before. Hopefully, we can sort of keep that, regardless of fans being in the stadium, we can keep that mentality that we can go to places, especially for the fans, that we can go to places like Anfield and get a win. I imagine fans will feel a lot more confident on a visit to Anfield now. But even with some players, I think there's been some standout performances of players, like obviously we mentioned Ben Godfrey before, I think he's had a brilliant season. Yeah. I think Abdoulaye Doucouré's come in and he's had a good season, not as good as he can be because of the players around him, but I think he's certainly made an impact and can go on and improve. And I think Dom also has had his best season.
Absolutely.
So we saw the awards last week, the Everton Player Awards last week. I think Dom got Player of the Season and Players Player of the Season. Who was your Player of the Season?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Again, when a lad scores 21 goals and single-handedly puts you in that race and fight for Europe, then you can't really look past him. I get the argument for Ben Godfrey, and Ben would be and is my young player of the season. I think that was the right decision. But if you put Ben Godfrey forward as player of the season, then he's obviously winning young player anyway, because Dom's 24, so he probably doesn't clarify for that. So then Dominic Calvert-Lewin's walking away with no award when he scored 21 goals and being absolutely phenomenal for Everton. He's improved massively. And like you said, his goals have been so vitally important in a season where, this Everton team we know anyway doesn't have a lot of goals in it, let's be honest, with the exception of Dom and Richarlison. Usually we've got, James has scored, I think, six. Gylfi scored 8, I think, with most of them being penalties, and everybody else is on 2 or 3s. We couldn't really have afforded for Richarlison to have the season that he's had, scoring 50% less goals than what he usually does. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin's made up for that with the season that he's had. He's improved massively. I think he's played of the season comfortably. Somebody put a comment in my live stream today and was like, when you actually look at Everton's XG and the chances we created, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal tally is absolutely phenomenal.
His conversion rate is still up there. I know we missed a few chances this season where we should be really bearing them, but he can only improve, and he'll only score more with better players around him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, if you look at the assists around the team, especially from midfield, it's not great. So imagine you put a top class winger in there and a top class right back, and we've got such a good aerial striker who's so dangerous in the box, especially in around the 6-yard box. You start putting decent balls in the box, then
I've got no doubt that Dominic Calvert-Lewin he'll get better next season and score more than 21 goals. I think he'll hit the 25, 26 range next season, because he's improved every season at Everton statistically. He's gotten better, he's scored more goals. And he'll go away in the summer, like he did last summer when we said he needs to go away, he needs to work on his physicality, he needs to work on his dominance. He went away and done that, and he'll go away this summer and work on his one-on-ones and work on his composure in front of goal and where to do his work, and I think he'll be even better next season, to be honest, mate.
Hopefully we'll bring in the right players who can help him do that.
It's impossible to get it wrong, isn't it?
Well, the summer transfer window starts in a few weeks, doesn't it? It officially opens. Do you think Everton need to go out and make a statement that it's going to be a big summer and go get a a big signing, a big name even.
What do you mean by big name? Like a Coutinho
or
Wilfred
a Bale
Zaha
or
who we've been linked
Koulibaly
with today, which makes me just want to cry. No, we don't.
Someone like go out and make a statement of who we are, what type of transfers we're making. You know, a Max Aarons or a Baku or a Bailey.
Yeah, definitely go and make that statement. I've seen a few people on social media after Sunday saying we need to spend 100 million this summer. We need to spend 200 million. I hope we spend 200 million. Well, why? Everton could spend 600 million and finish 12th next season. Everton could spend 50 million and finish 6th. It's not about how much money we spend. It's about where we spend the money and spending the money in the right areas and on the right profile of players. We could go out and spend 400 million on Rabiot, Kieran Trippier, Coutinho, Koulibaly, Wilfred Zaha, Bale, or we could go out and spend 100 million on Jack Harrison, Matheus Pereira, Max Aarons or Baku, Leon Bailey, Anguissa from Fulham, and be 6th next season. So it's not just about going out and spending all sorts of money on all sorts of profiles. It's about bringing in the right profile of player. And for me, the right profile of player is your Max Aarons, young, athletic, fast, physical. Not only the player you're buying, you're not only buying the player he is today, you're buying the player he might be in 3, 4, 5 years' time. Anguissa from Fulham would be a perfect signing for me. I do like the likes of Jack Harrison from Leeds. I do like Pereira from West Brom. I like obviously Leon Bailey from Borussia. From Bayern Leverkusen as well. So yeah, we need to go and make a statement, and hopefully we get players in early, because one thing we don't want, and I know we sort of got away with it at the start of last season with James, Decore and Alan, but James had been in the country for 5 days and he was starting at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and yeah, he was brilliant and we won. But ideally, you want your signings to be in for at least a couple of weeks before, so they get integration with the squad. They get a pre-season. They understand what the manager wants. It worked last season, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're watching players thinking, he's playing the first Premier League game of the season and he hasn't got a clue because he's only been here for 4 days. So hopefully we get, at least some business done early, and we're not waiting until the last sort of week of the transfer window to find out who we want to sign. I know it got a little bit sort of squeaky bum time last summer, didn't it? I remember when Højbjerg turned us down and we were all sort of thinking we're signing no one here, and okay, we signed 3 or 4 players in quick succession, but hopefully, I think June the 6th that the window opens. Hopefully by the end of June we've signed 1 or 2 at least, and we clearly know who else we're going after. I'm not saying bring everybody in by the end of June, but at least have the plan there so we know, right, okay, these are the types of players that we're going to be bringing in.
Well, we've mentioned a few right backs and right wings in past podcasts that we've been linked with.
Yeah.
But say we sign realistically 4 players this summer, 4 or 5 players. I imagine one of them will be a number 2 goalkeeper, because Olsen's obviously is only on loan.
Yeah.
Very quickly, your ideal 4 or 5 summer transfers signings.
Okay. Including the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know obviously Sergio Romero is on free, and he's been linked massively. The problem I have with Sergio Romero is I think he'd come in and demand first team football. I don't think he'd be happy to sit on the bench, and he probably want a lot of money as well. And I give Jordan Pickford my most improved player of the season. I think recently he's been absolutely phenomenal, and I'm happy with Jordan Pickford being the number 1 next season. So for argument's sake, I'd say Robin Olsen re-signing out the 2 of them, because I think the likelihood is Robin Olsen will re-sign. Then I'd want Anguissa from Fulham, Frank Zambo Anguissa. I want Ridley Baku from Leverkusen or Max Aarons. I'm torn, but one of the 2 will do. He's not from Leverkusen, from Wolfsburg, sorry. 2 more. I'm going to go with... I'll go with Pereira from West Brom. And I want a centre-back. I do want a centre-back, because I think we need a centre-back. I really do. I think if you get a bid for Mason Holgate or Michael Keane in the summer, I'd sell. Yeah. And obviously a decision needs to be made on Yerry Mina. So... yeah, I'd want a centre back, but I don't know who. I'd like Buendia as well. I like the look of Jack Harrison. I like Leon Bailey, but I don't know how realistic Leon Bailey would be. There's a lot of players at that profile, to be honest. But I do think we need a centre back, absolutely.
Well, obviously that may cost a bit of money to bring the players in, and obviously that will take players.
But if we only sign 3 of them, then the recruitment strategy, where we're looking.
At least we're going in the right direction.
That's it.
But obviously we need players out We need to get players out the door, to get players in the door. Which realistic players can you see getting pushed out the door this summer, if any?
Sticking it on me here. But players I'd like to see leave. Obviously you'd want Gomez, Delph, probably Iwobi if you got a decent bid.
Well, they're the likely ones we can still get a bit of money back for, and so obviously Keane is looking very likely.
Moise Keane.
He's expressed that he wants to go, so it's about getting the right money, I suppose, for him. Obviously, they're trying to knock it down to about 25-30 million euros. Yeah,
I think if we got a decent bid for Mason Holgate, would sell. And I think if we got a decent bid for Michael Keane, would sell as well. To be honest with you, but again, it's so easy. It's so easy to sort of endure this FIFA head of just sell all of these players, but you can only sell players that teams want ultimately. And if Andre Gomez is an Everton player next season, then it's because nobody wants him. And let's be honest, why would anybody want him? He's not a good footballer. So again, if we get bids for these players, then they'll be sold. But ultimately, it's about that, isn't it? You can't just say don't turn up. As much as we might want to say that, you can't. These players are contracted, and we've given them a contract. We're paying them, so. But yeah, no, I think there's a couple in that first team squad that if we bidded for. I mean, look at Mason Holgate, for example. He's now behind Godfrey, Keane and Mina. He's our fourth choice centre-back. If we signed another centre-back, he'd become fifth choice. If you got a £15 million bid for Mason Holgate as a fourth choice centre-back, would you sell him?
I would, yeah.
And you brought in another right-back, so that's Seamus' second choice right-back.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Have you got the right bid for him? I think he's at that age now when he needs to settle down and
that's it.
Get first team. I don't think it's going to happen for him at Everton, unfortunately. I think there's a good player in there. He's not had a great season. Obviously, he was that young player of the season last season, wasn't he? End of 1920. So there's a good player in there, but he needs consistent football. He needs to settle down. If he wants to play, if he wants to be a centre back or a right back or a holding midfielder, I don't know what he is, but he needs to settle down at club. I don't think it's going to be Everton.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, I agree. I'm just going through all the signings I've picked in my mind and seeing if I want to change.
Well, with I was going to ask you something. With Josh King, obviously, he'll not be staying.
Who's he?
Can you see us? I think he played a couple of minutes. He ran on the pitch a couple of times. Can you see us going out and bringing in a centre forward or an attacker that can play across the front three even? Obviously, we're short on. Obviously, Tolson's coming back, but he's injured and he'll probably be out the door.
Wasn't he celebrating with Besiktas, saying he wants to be, I want to be here and I'm contacted to Everton, but I don't want to be there. I don't think he'll not play another game for Everton, will he? No. Well, you say that, but I remember thinking that about a lot of players, and there they are turning up, putting the shirt on.
Yeah, true.
No, I think we could subsidise a backup striker by bringing in two wingers that can play along all three positions. Because you got Richarlison who can play as a striker. I know he hasn't been great at it this season and he's missed a lot of chances, but he can play up there. Obviously, you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Moise Keane will leave, but I would rather, if Everton went out this summer and just focused all of our attention on right back, centre midfield and a backup striker, I'd be furious, because we need two wingers as an absolute. We need one winger without question, and we need two wingers really if we want to really progress. And if you sign two quick, skillful wingers that can score goals, that can create goals, that can get in behind defenders, and also maybe having one of those two that can interchange and be a centre forward as well, then I think you might get away with it.
We need players off the bench as well.
Yeah, we need
sign like a.
We need too much. We need too much of what we're gonna get.
If you go and sign, say, Adam Armstrong, who can play across the front three, it won't be a first team, but he's pace little fella. He can score goals. We know that. So even like a player like him coming off the benches can be a decent little buy. But you've got to get your first team sorted out first. There's too many options. There's too many positions we need to sort out.
That's it. I said it last week. For me, you don't go out and buy. We should, Everton's, and I don't think this will be Everton's plan, but Everton shouldn't go out in this summer and bring in players that aren't quite good enough to make the first team, but would be decent on the bench. What we need to do is go out and buy players that are better than what we've got, that they go into the first team, and then what we've got drop to the bench. That's how you work it. You don't buy players that aren't as good as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but he's better than Cenk Tosun, so he'll sit on the bench, or he's better because that's what we effectively tried to do with Josh King, and look at how that turned out. Go out and buy players that are better than what we've currently got, And then not only do you have competition for places then, because, you know, be it Dom, be it, I don't know, Alan, Decore, Richarlison, they're all looking over. Look how beneficial Robin Olsen's been for Jordan Pickford. Actually having a goalkeeper that Jordan knows, if I don't perform here, if I don't improve, I'm sitting on that bench, and I can't afford to be sitting on that bench with the Euros coming up this summer. I need to be in that team week in, week out. Look at how much Jordan's improved off the back of having that. Exactly. You need competition in your team, not only for squad depth, but to keep players on their toes, because players might come out and then give the usual spiel of, I tried dead hard and saying, and I work my socks off every game, but subconsciously there'll be a thought in their mind thinking, I'm in here, no matter how well I play or how poorly I play, I'm starting next week, I'm starting the week after, I'll get another chance. Whereas if they've got somebody on the bench who's breathing down their throat and they think, if I don't give it 110% here, if I don't battle, if I don't show that I'm worthy of my place, I'll be out and he'll be in. And he might come in and show that he's worthy of his place, battle, fight, and then I mightn't get back in. So you need that competition for places. It's healthy and it improves everybody throughout the squad. And like I said, we need to go out and buy better players than what we've got in the starting 11, and then those players become your bench players. For me anyway, and whether we will do that or not is a different question, isn't it, I suppose.
Well, do you think the maybe, and this is a maybe because he spent the season on loan at Blackpool, obviously I'm on about Ellis Sims. He scored a few goals for Blackpool in League One. He's done okay. Do you think he's ready for a place from and at least the bench yet in the squad, or do you think you can see him going out on another loan, maybe the Championship this time?
Yeah, and I can see him going out on another. He's done well, don't get me wrong, 89 goals, something like that, but he's playing in League One. And I know it's so easy for us to say, get Ellis Sims in, he's scoring every week, but it's that correlation between, you know, some people say, I remember putting up a video of one of Ellis Sims' goals on our Twitter from when he played for Blackpool, obviously during the season. And I think Everton had played the same day and we'd lost. You know, no surprise. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a poor game, and someone went, "See, Ellis Sims is doing it at Blackpool. Why could get him in instead? Dom's not doing it." And I was like, "Well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's playing in the Premier League at the highest level. Probably playing. I think we played. Can't remember who we played at the time, but it was someone decent. I think it might have been Chelsea. And Ellis Sims was playing League One opposition.
Dom would score 40 goals a season.
Exactly. So it's not compatible. You can't say it's compatible. And Ellis Sims, might well have a future at Everton. And he looks a good striker, but he's 19 years old now, I think, and yes, he's big, he's physical, and he's a goal scorer, but he's not ready for the Premier League. The step up from League One to Championship is ginormous. The step up from Championship to Premier League is even bigger, and I think, like you said, Ellis Sims gets a Championship loan next season, and let's see how he does. If he scores 15, 16 goals in the Championship next season, then maybe the season after we can start having those conversations, but not yet.
Well, another youngster who's been out on loan this season and not at the best spell, I suppose, young Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
Can you see him being a part of the squad, or do you think he'll get sent back out on loan next season? He's not at the greatest. Had a decent start at Preston, but not at the greatest loan, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't, from what I've seen and read, he hasn't really played much. He hasn't been getting many opportunities.
Not gone too great for him
whatsoever. So, again, the desperateness is there to want Anthony Gordon to come in and succeed, and I've still seen a lot of people saying, "You look at our bench, why can't we have an Anthony Gordon on there?" And I sort of agree with it. I agree with it, but what I also then think is Naz Nkunku come on Sunday for the first time in absolute months in a game where we were already 4-5-0 down in, and he was never going to be able to change. And okay, he didn't do anything, he ran around a little bit, but if Naz Nkunku's only being brought on in a game, at the last game of the season, when we're being absolutely, bladdered by Manchester City and there's nothing in it, I don't really see Anthony Gordon. He wasn't a favourite of Carlo Ancelotti when he was here. He started a couple of games the season before last, obviously. The 1920 season, it all rolls into one. But even when he was part of the squad, this season just gone, he wasn't massively involved. He wasn't really getting off the bench. He wasn't even getting in the matchday squad. And I know you can say, well, how isn't he getting in there when Gomez is getting in there, or when Iwobi, or when Bernardo's getting in there? But that's obviously Carlo's decision, isn't it? And again, I think you'll see Anthony Gordon go out on loan again this summer, hopefully for a side that he can play consistent football for, and not just be, again, doing what he was doing at Everton, basically, and not being included, because what's the point?
Yeah, well, there you go. There's enough Everton for today. That's a nice little therapy session, to be honest. But, we've got the Euros to look forward to. I think England's first game is next Wednesday, isn't it?
Is it that soon?
They've got a game next Wednesday, haven't they? It's not Euros game.
I haven't got a clue, mate. I just can't wait. And it's mad how hypocritical are football fans, by the way. It might just be me who's a big hypocrite, but I literally sat there to the missus on Sunday and said, I'm never watching another game of football ever again. I'm never ever watching it. I'm not watching the Euros. I'm not interested. I don't really like England, but and now I'm sitting here saying I actually can't wait to watch a game of football that I've got no emotional connection to.
Yeah,
they play. Just go, oh, he's a good player. That's a good goal. Oh, they've performed well today, but I'm not actually sitting there. Do you know how many times I wanted to lash my phone at the telly? Martin Tyler, absolutely, for the nice of a better word, he basically wanted to marry Sergio Aguero on Sunday. He was doing that old Aguero scream every time he touched the ball, and I was just sitting there thinking, I'm sitting on my couch, there's nobody else in the house, but I feel like I'm being punched in the face. I just feel like somebody's just there, just slapping me constantly. That's how horrible it was. So I am actually looking forward to watching some football I don't care about.
Well, we've got a friendly next Wednesday against Austria.
There you go.
So that'll be fun.
Hopefully Big Ben gets his chance, and
hopefully as a.
What I would say about the Euros is hopefully any Everton player that goes, be it Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Pickford, Ben Godfrey,
come home safe.
Yeah,
please.
just don't get injured, please, because if you're there for a reason, and that's because you've impressed. And we really could do with picking up an injury.
I sort of want Godfrey to play every game and smash it, but then I sort of wanted to just be like, leave him alone.
You know what happens if he plays every game and smashes it, don't you? The silly season transfer rumours kicking, and Man United are going to sign him for 100 million and all this and all that. So, look, it's Everton, innit? And that's what we are. That's what we do. We turned up. We took part in a testimonial. We got slapped left, right, and centre. But at least Sergio Aguero, had a smile on his face and scored a couple of goals and is now going to Barcelona.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think did he break the record on Sunday? He maybe broke the record.
He matched Wayne Rooney's record, isn't he?
There you go. So
there's only Andy Cole, Alan Shearer, and Henry in front of him, isn't it?
Is it? So he's up there, top 4 or something. So listen. Again, our defence gave him a guard of honour before the game and continue to give him a guard of honour when he come on as well. I think they sort of thought, we stand off him now because it's Aguero. Do you know what I'm fuming about?
Everything.
Well, everything, yeah. But what I'm most fuming about is that we've ruined the Bosch kit there. We've worn one of the best kits we've had out in years.
That kit was so nice.
And now I look at it and think, I'm just reminded of just that performance.
Hopefully we get our first fixture at like a.
I just thought we waited at home.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Just waited.
Hopefully we get a good away fixture and we win like 7-0 or something, and Leon Bailey scores 5 goals. Imagine, and then we'd love it. Oh yeah, he'd look boss in that kit, and Middlebacker would look boss in it as well. Lionel Messi would look boss in that kit.
Anyone but Andre Gomez and Alex Iwobi.
Yeah.
Imagine Anguissa in that kit next to Decore and Allen.
Imagine Everton.
We do this to ourselves and we know we'll be sitting here in 6 months' time and bloody Aaron Ramsey will be an Everton player and Kieran Trippier will be an Everton player and we'll all be sitting here just crying into our hands. But just imagine Everton being any good.
Well, Carmus.
Any good.
Everton 0, Norwich 3. Thoughts? Just please, Everton, just
get it right.
Bring us our optimism back. We want a good summer.
Get it right. It's impossible to get wrong. Get it right this summer.
Anyway, we can only hope. Fingers crossed, arms crossed, legs crossed.
Everything crossed.
Yeah. There you go. Thanks for listening to the Everton podcast, the Toffee TV Everton therapy session, I suppose you could call it.
It's over now anyway, so
season's over. It's over. We'll be back next week to discuss, hopefully, some transfer rumours. Maybe to even discuss the England friendly.
So. It's silly season, and I've just read today that we're interested in Wilfried Zaha, so it's
easy rumour. You will get that every year now.
That's it. I'm surprised we haven't been in it with Khedira, to be honest. He retired 2 weeks ago. I'm just surprised that he retired.
He went to MLS, didn't he?
No, he stayed at Juve, didn't he? I think he stayed.
Oh, did he? I can't remember.
He's retired anyway, so we'll probably be linked with him over the next week or so. Bring him back from retirement.
I imagine so. There you go anyway. Thanks for listening. If you want more videos, exclusive live videos, then head over to Patreon. Make sure you check out Cam's channel, The Mighty Blues. Also, thanks for listening or thanks for watching, if you're watching the vodcast version. And see you later.